I forgot about it. So, now it's here. So we'll see what happens.
Speak of the devil.
Yeah. Yeah.
There he is. Hey, we were just talking about you.
Yeah. Yeah. Bobo's like, stay away. And I was like, man, I got to get out. And then I forgot. I should have gave Bobo my big bad account.
Oh, you don't want that?
What's that? Well,
You
Bobo
don't
was saying
want.
that it was too tight of a fit. It's what he was saying.
Oh.
So if we have time, I'll open it up tonight. We'll try and stick something in it and see what happens.
That's what she said.
That's right. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Trying to get the light to shine right off my dome. I don't know how this is gonna go. There's no unboxing, so. Oh man. Let's see here. Hey, Roger Dodger, how you doing? I'm glad you're here because you can kind of give us a little bit of information on the international side, even though we got a lot of that stuff. I canceled my 2 vans. Yikes.
Yeah, see?
So how much did that cost?
Honestly, it wasn't bad. I think this was $169.
That's not bad.
I didn't think it was bad. Now, if it doesn't hold anything, you know what I mean? 169 for something that doesn't hold anything ain't the greatest. But that mod video that MC showed, that's got me curious. I may have to try that out.
Yeah, I've seen I saw somebody try to put Punisher in there, and then they did the mod. And good. So Lucky was here. He said, "Have a great show." He checked the replay. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. Son of is here. Yep. We got Roger. We went through that. Nick. How you doing, Nick? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Andrew's here. And Adam's here. So, little does anybody know, because I didn't advertise it, but we're going to do another unboxing of a figure that's not even been released yet. Dun, 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 dun. It's to test the real fans of the show.
Oh, boy.
That's right.
Finally going to get Tiny Paige? Is that what we're going to get?
I wish, right? No. People break arms and shit like that. This figure's trash. Oh, Son of a did send me, there's a guy, he made a Nas figure. And I was like, wow, it looks amazing.
Yeah.
Had a nice little gray coat, everything. The head sculpt looked just like him. And I'm sitting there thinking, wow, that'd be cool if he did commissions and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But seriously, no unboxing. What was it? I finally got the Mezco White Skull figure. Oh, congrats, man. Congrats. For a good price. Because I've been seeing a lot of people sell stuff lately.
A lot of stuff.
What about you, CC? How you doing? Good?
Good, man. Good. Recovering from work.
Ugh.
At 4 a.m. start today. That's always tough. That's tough.
Do you have a day off anytime soon?
Tomorrow.
Good. Mm-hmm. Oh. So before we start the show, I think, as we always do, it's important to acknowledge the reigning new champion.
Yeah.
Tuesday night comic book champion. Unfortunately, the champ was looking the other way.
Yeah. All streets were made to be broken.
That's right. And I got beat clean. So congratulations. I acknowledge you, sir.
You know what's funny is when I saw it, it had been up for 4 minutes. I'm like, oh shit, I lost. I'm like, it's been 4 minutes. Like, ain't no way. And I saw it hadn't been shared yet. I was like, oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Man, I'm telling you, pipe cement is not kind. And so I was outside digging, and I'm like, I'll check around 7:30, 8 o'clock. And I was still out there. And then I got all this stuff on my hands, and I just got distracted. And then when I walked in the house, I loaded up the stuff and I saw your message. I'm like, oh God. I was like, you got me. Shoulders to the mat, looking at the lights. You got me. Oh, good show.
You ever keep
Speak.
messing with your neighbors and like drag a plastic bag out there and bury it?
No, no. I'll get to some. My UPS driver came the other day, and he was dropping something off, and I didn't know he was Russian, and so he's speaking to me like in Russian, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm trying to be nice, but I'm like, I'm losing daylight, man. I gotta get this stuff done. And so I was like, but neighbors come by all the time. They're like, how's it going? I'm like, it's going good. Just trying to get it done.
Yeah.
So, Chris, man, good to see you, man. Good to see you. We got a good show tonight. It will be, depending on how people take it and how, we talk about it and everybody else in chat talks about it. It might be a little bit hard for some people, but I think you can have a good conversation without bringing politics into this and a bunch of hate and everything like that. Because, and we've talked about some of it, but for like the last 2 weeks, I went and I did a bunch of research on some subjects that I've seen in the community, and I just figured we talk about it. So, and then I figured like 89 Batman after this, we'll just dead this conversation because everybody's doing it.
Yeah.
It's not making anything better. It's a lot of speculation, but a lot of the stuff tonight is not speculation. It's stuff that I went out and I actually looked up, and some of it's going to get cut because I couldn't get, cute little graphics for everybody,
Yeah.
But yeah. MC's not here tonight, or maybe he'll come in a little bit later, but let's start the show. All right, here we go. Hello, everyone. My name is Paige. Welcome to episode 210.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's getting up there.
Yeah. Yeah. 210 of the Hangout, where we give you positive insight in the world, collecting very chill and relaxed atmosphere. I say we because I am joined by one half of the two Corys, Mr. Corey Christopher. How you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good.
Ready to talk shop, toys, all sorts of craziness. It's a lot of hot topics. Let me see here. I haven't been keeping up with a lot of the news, to be honest with you. Sometimes it's kind of hard to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's difficult.
I think I was talking to you, and I was telling Darius too. I said, I don't need it to be like the WWE every single day.
Yeah.
I miss sometimes when you just get on the news and they said, there was a deal to sign a new water deal.
Yeah.
Instead of, guess what happened today?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh. But
yeah,
a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
Where is the album?
Hey, Paige, I'll be right back. I got to jump off for just a second.
Oh, no, don't leave me alone. No,
Yeah.
please. Please, no. I don't know what I'll do. All right. We'll continue on. Happy belated May 4th and 5th to everybody. I'll ask you guys this question because CC left and I was going to ask him, what movie did you watch? I completely forgot about it, but I think I started watching Rogue One. That's a good movie. I didn't watch any of the classics, but it was cool to see Star Wars. I didn't watch any series. Like some of the series I kind of get out of, but comments. Don't worry, you got us, Paige. I know. And it's not like I don't know how to talk either. He said, put me in, coach. Hey, I'll send you the link. Just kidding. That'd be funny if you popped in right when he came, because we actually talked to him about that, and I said, "Hey, man, you better get back on the scene because somebody's gunning for your spot." He was like, "Who?" And I'm like, "Uh, leave it a surprise. This is going up now." Yeah. Let's see here. I think I got it. But yeah, I watched Rogue One. It still holds up. I was trying to prep for Andor. And you are not showing up. There we go. It works. All right. Yep. So welcome to episode 210. Tonight's episode is collecting the cold hard truth. Had a double meaning. I know a lot of people, some of it's going to be collecting like as a whole, but then the other meaning was all the information that I was trying to gather. We did this. Oh, I thought this was very funny. AI is taking over, man. I swear to God. So I'm in a group, and I'm not going to be able to zoom in, of course, am I? I'm in a group. How do you zoom in? Magnify. Control, control. Let's give it a whirl. I thought that this was hilarious. So in the group, they try to inject this little collector AI bot, I guess, because they're like, Paige, you don't do enough work, so let's take more work off of you. But the funny thing about this is this AI bot collects all the information from the group and kind of does cliff notes. And as you're looking at it, it's hilarious because you can see, this ties in a little bit later what I'm going to talk about. You can see how some of the stuff that's like misinterpreted, is it showing up? Probably not. But it was funny to me because it'll say stuff like, people got a mystery box and some lucky recipients received rare figures. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me, man. Get out of here. And then it said other things like, what was it? Oh, and some of the stuff was kind of cool, but then there was other stuff that was just kind of like crazy. Like somebody says, oh, there was a figure for sale. Remember, somebody listed their collection for sale with a minor discount. And I'm just looking at this summary, and it just took everything that everybody said within the group and just kind of like made it seem like it was something it wasn't. And so I sat there and I thought, oh man, if you thought like news and rumors and stuff like that were bad now, imagine when some of this stuff happens, because all this does is collect data. But I thought it was interesting. I was going to show that. The next thing, Legions in stock sale. So Mythic Legions has their in stock sale going on right now. It's through May 8th. You have some opportunities to be able to get ATL 25, some of these other very rare ones, I think, because that's a Zolocon. I don't know if anybody's picked it up, but I'm pretty sure if you are Mythic Legion's head, you're already up to date on this. So that was something interesting I saw. Crab Louie. So we talked about Crab Louie a little bit last week, and we had the unboxing with Sully. Thank you again, Sully, for doing that. And he went up for us regular folk the other day. He was $116. They didn't give any kind of release date at all with this. And the 116, obviously, that stuck out for a lot of people. Another thing that kind of stuck out, which we kind of knew was going to happen anyway, was the accessory count. And we'll talk about that a little bit later too, but everybody was equating the price point with the amount of accessories that we're getting. And then there was a lot of speculation about this was tariff pricing and a lot of chatter about, well, if it was here, it was hitting before the tariffs. But this is out. It went up for pre-order. It didn't last very long. And it started shipping out a few days later. He's back. I was struggling. I was struggling without you.
I see. I see. We got a replacement lined up though.
Yeah.
Come on, Kadeem. We got room for a third. Come on in.
Oh, good. Thank you, Kadeem. See, Kadeem should just take my spot.
We got room for a third. Come on in. We like drop-ins.
I miss when Mezco did the Batman boxes. Yeah. Hey, how you doing? Good to see you. Return of the Jedi. So I did ask. I watched Rogue One for my May the Fourth be with you. What did you watch?
I started watching Andor.
See, I was doing it to prep for Andor.
I started watching Andor. Well, you can't watch Rogue One to prep for Andor. From what I've heard, is you need to watch Andor and then watch Rogue One immediately after.
Wouldn't you watch Andor 1 and 2? Because in Rogue, is it a spoiler if I say he dies?
Hopefully anybody who was interested has seen it by now. Hopefully. I don't know how long the movie's been out, but hopefully if you wanted to see it, you've seen it by now, hopefully.
Bruce Willis is a ghost. Yeah.
Oh, great.
Ruin that one for you. But thank you, Kadeem, for that information and showing my lack of knowledge with Mythic Legions, because that is going up live tomorrow. So if you're into that, get on that. But yeah, Crab Louie went up. Pre-order. He's shipping out now. Has begun. I always love the comments that as soon as they post that, somebody's like, mine didn't ship yet. Like, that's why it says has begun. So be patient. I don't know if anybody else saw that. I did get a screen grab. I didn't put it in here, but they sent out a message on their channel saying kind of a roundabout way with everything going on right now and the shipping and everything else like that. They're backed up a lot. So be patient with any orders that you have or any prizes. I've seen a couple people mention that. Did you get your prize? No?
Not yet.
Jeez. Not yet. It's been a while, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, so Louis went up and he's shipping out. I think I've said that 3 times. And so that brings us to this. So this obviously changed, so you can take this out. So what are your thoughts on this with everything that's going on? We have a couple things that are slotted to come. So I'm wondering if, because everything that's going on right now, if this stuff was on the water, and from what I've read, technically, if it was on the water, I'll talk about that in a little bit too. Because there's been some conflicting reports. Like if it's on the water, but it gets here, it gets there, you can still get taxed when it gets, or tariff when it gets to the dock. I've heard some people saying that, some people not, but
yeah.
So I'm wondering what you think about any of this either getting pushed back or probably placed on hold.
I gotta imagine a lot of this stuff's going to get placed on hold because I mean, a lot of the stories that you're hearing right now are that anything that's coming in right now is getting hit with these surcharges or whatever. So
yeah,
I think the grace period is over. So at this point, anything coming in is pretty strict. I was watching a thing earlier where the small business woman was talking about, she can't afford to bring the product in at this cost, so it's just sitting there waiting. And I can see a lot of people taking that approach, just hoping for, some sort of relief or
Yeah. I wouldn't mind if they held some of this stuff if it does apply under the, the tariff stuff, because I think everybody's been seeing this from each one of the companies. I think Funko Pop sent something out. There was who else? There was 2 other companies that put stuff out that said, "Hey, we are going to be increasing our pricing." I mean, obviously, I think it is the reality of it all is catching up with people. I think people thought it was going to be a certain way, and they were average. They were not only advertising, but they were informing people, hey, that cost is going to be passed off, to someone.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the customer. I don't think a lot of people took that seriously. And now reality is setting in. And then now we're in this panic mode
Yeah.
with collecting. Because it has a huge impact on everybody.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't mind if they kind of held off some of this stuff. Something else I thought about. It is a little bit ways off, but San Diego is coming up. So when does MezcoCon start?
It's over, isn't it?
No, they haven't announced the exclusive yet.
They always show up late for their own convention. I find that ironic.
What? Well, this did get me thinking. What are the chances do you think that they'll be at San Diego?
100%.
Because of it, 100% you think they're going? Okay.
Yeah.
You don't think that maybe because of everything, maybe they do a virtual?
Because I still think they go.
Okay.
Now the next one might be a little different.
New York.
I think the longer this goes on, I think you'll see impacts because you start reeling things in, but
I
think it's too early for it to fully kick in yet.
You mean New York, or hey, you're over there?
What's that?
I was switching around the screens. You mean New York? Is that what you mean? You're kind of wondering if it's going to happen, or?
Yeah, because you figure New York's in what, September?
Yeah, around that. Yeah, I think it makes they were selling tickets, so it's already set in stone.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this! See, I got hit with an $11 tariff fee from Sideshow with a waitlist item that came in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen a couple of Hasbro put something up on their on that post, and they were talking about if you want to lock in a price, you have this till this date to do it. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
I know every company's going to handle it differently. So you think that they're going to be there? Maybe not for New York. Here's another thing. I don't know if it would really impact them a lot, but exclusives.
Yeah. Could really be in question, man. Really be in question. Figure if it's not already stateside, there's a lot up in the air.
Yeah. I'll be honest. I think they had the foresight to take that into consideration.
Yeah.
Because when we they were discussing it at San Diego last year.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure that they're like, okay, let's prep for this, and so I'm hoping that if they go, there's an exclusive.
Yeah.
It would be nice. The timing of it too. Maybe if they just had one, it would be cool.
Yeah.
Like usually it's been averaging like two, but another thing I thought of was, and it may not, I don't know how it applies to regular mail, but I'm wondering how much we might see there in terms of prototypes and samples, for releases. Because if they're getting their stuff there and they're doing that,
Yeah.
and you're trying to get it for the show, that's like a little bit of a hiccup. So, I don't know. You should be able to lock in at the pre-order price. Yeah, I heard that from Hasbro, but I know some other companies are already charging. They're putting the charge on either shipping, or they're just flat out saying, "Hey, we got to charge you more because somebody is." I'm about to find out. I have enough Nightmare toys come from Hong Kong. So far, it just says 15 upcharge, but hasn't gone through the port process. Yeah, that's the thing. The port process. I had a bunch of other stuff. But this is what we have that's supposed to be coming. One thing got pushed back. I'm not too sure if we might see this stuff, but maybe a break. It's going to be interesting to see how that pans out. I know this is out of nowhere. I'm really hoping for a random pre. Yeah, you know what? I've seen a lot of people saying that they're really interested in GI Joe. CC, would you want more GI Joe?
You can always, well, Sure. You saying hi? Say hi to
Hi.
Paige.
Hi.
You can never have too many GI Joes.
Yeah.
It's like we're gonna find out though, because man, it's coming out so fast. Definitely.
Yeah.
Wait, she's getting jealous. You're talking to somebody else.
I thought it was funny though, because as many people were on the fence about it or saying they didn't like it, now that the figures are out, everybody's kind of like, well, are we going to get more? I know it's funny, right? All right, so let's get to the meat of all this. I tried to lube us up a little bit. Terrific. So tariffs. I know this is a sore spot for people. We're trying to keep as much of the politics out of this because I think there's enough information to bring us down as much. Look at that little boat. It's so cute. It's got all that stuff. All that stuff that get taxed. This is crazy. I was watching the news. 35% down from last year. Everybody's prepping for this. Everybody's saying, nope, not shipping all my stuff over there. These are the rates. And I guess I look at things a little bit differently, but I think this is something that a lot of people need to see. We kind of get a little bit spoiled sometimes in collecting and everything else, just in life. And now people are kind of seeing how much this stuff actually costs, not only to produce, but to bring over here, you know? What, things were already expensive as it is. Yes, indeed. So there was, I don't know if you'll be able to see a lot of this. Hopefully it's not too small, but this kind of gives you the rates. This guy had a lot of good stuff to say. He is the port executive. He said that he's the one that said it was 35% down, and he said already the ports are just bare. They're coming in with less stuff that they already have on there. I think real life, he said it'll probably take a good 4 to 6 weeks, but then we're going to start seeing some of the differences, in terms of stock and supply. I don't know how that's going to affect us as collectors, but yeah, this is John Saruco. He said the best case scenario that happens is the way and again, this guy's the chairman of the LA port. This is where everything kind of comes in and then it gets distributed out. And a lot of this is context, so just kind of bear with me. So he said if everything goes well, what's going to happen is that even if there was a deal that got struck tomorrow, the administration said, okay, yeah, everything is fine. We're all clear on this. It'll go back to the way it goes. He said it's going to take up to about 2 weeks because those ships that have come in, they just went back or they did a U-turn or they're porting someplace else, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to take a while. And then also that doesn't take into account if you've offloaded all the cargo, you got to put it back on, and that's another 2-week trip back. So that's a month or 4 weeks. Best case scenario, right?
Right.
The reason why I bring this up is because I know everyone's panicking. And I know everyone's financial situation isn't the same, but I would definitely take whatever time we start this, which is now, and whatever time this lasts till. And if you're financially able to do it, I would definitely try to pack away money. I know toys may not be, this is for like people that aren't worrying, that are worried. If you're worried about life, forget what I'm about to say. But if you're in trying to collect and stuff like that, I would take whatever lull time you have and I would try to get best prepared for it. Because you don't know if it's going to be the same or if you're going to be paying money. Then you can make your decisions. But at least this time you should take advantage of, because you do have these things that are just kind of looming around. And San Diego, if they do something. We don't know how pricing is going to be. So if you're continuing on this journey, I would definitely take this lull time to kind of like get better prepared. Or what's the opposite, CC?
you know what's really weird is you remember, I mean, what was probably almost exactly a year ago when we were talking about how, the ports were just packed with product.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Now it's like we've done a complete 180. It's crazy.
I'm telling you, man, we have and we had it really good.
Yeah.
And this is really you're gonna see a lot of collectors through no fault of their own have to switch up what they're doing. Either not collect anymore, cut back on what they're collecting, or just they're gonna have to figure out something. And I do think people are gonna be like, damn, man, I remember we had a release, 2 or 3 releases every month. Now it's one every 4 or 5 months. So it costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
So yeah. It's here we go. I work in retail. We got a big truck last week. This week it was small.
Yeah.
Yeah, stock up. Stock up on whatever money you're thinking about spending. You said you canceled Boba said he canceled both his van orders, right?
Yeah.
So, the U.S. pays so much less in comparison to the other world. Yeah, such unnecessary chaos. Yeah, it is, and I do like to see. I like to look at things from a positive aspect, and I think there is some things to learn about this. We've learned a lot about international trade. We've learned a lot about actual pricing for these things. So when people start saying, "Oh, this isn't worth it," I did shoehorn that message that they sent out. They're like, "Hi, we wanted to thank you for your patience and understanding. We're currently experiencing delays across the board, including with replacement items and prize shipments." There you go, CC.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Yes. They even said to you, "Please rest assured, CC. There's that comment. We haven't forgotten about you.
Yeah.
Everything is still on the way. It's just taking a little longer than expected." Communication, right? May not be the message you want to hear, but hey, it's communication. So I'm not going to dwell on this too much, but throwing some numbers at you. $417 million. That's what this little ship carrying everything cost. The actual the goods on here is estimated 231. The tax tariffs will be $335 million.
Unbelievable.
I'll skip through some of these slides. You can pause if you want, but you can kind of see some of the dates and everything. Again, this is just to give people an idea what we'll be talking about a little bit later. There was a good slide here. I made it big for everybody. Look, so and that shows you how much these ships carry: cars, trucks, parts, plastic products. That doesn't include the toys. That's another section. But you got all these other things, and then right here, you got all of these toys and sports equipment and stuff like that. $18 million value, $11 million in tariffs. Of course, that stuff's going to be passed on. So I was researching this. Another reason why I said take this time to kind of be prepared. Companies aren't dumb, and they're using these like little loopholes. One of the loopholes that was mentioned, and I'm going to include links to all of this stuff so you just don't think that I'm just throwing out, BS to everybody. But one of the loopholes that companies are using is this thing called a bonded warehouse. This would be their saving grace. Causes less disruption between the time of flow, except for what's going to be happening with the tariff. Like if they say 145 on all of these items, obviously the company's going to wait, right?
Yeah.
But what the companies will do is they'll take this, and this is from Masrsk. And again, I'll put the link in there, but you can read through this because it's tiny print. But what happens is companies will use this bonded warehouse, and they will take their items and they will throw them into this bonded warehouse where they're free of taxes, duties, tariffs, all of that stuff. just kind of like a kind of like a holding, and you don't pay anything. You do pay when you draw out whatever the product is. So this might be a way for companies, which they are using, to kind of like skirt around this. So it not only escapes all the excessive costs that they will incur that will be passed down to people. And also, you won't have that big drag of saying, okay, well, these items that we had in the queue coming to us and we gave you the dates for, now we don't have to wait that 2 or 3 months on top of everybody else that's in competition for the containers trying to get product in there. Bonded warehouses, look it up. Do you have a bonded warehouse, Cecil?
No, not at all.
I thought this was really cool, man. Is that the latest Mezco post custom with the cosmic legion? Post a custom. Oh, I think he's talking about the one that Sully did. Yeah, I don't know what Sully did with that one. It might be. I know he used Vaporoni and stuff. I ain't gonna lie, I put things in my cart throughout the various website to buy when I check, and then decide, no, I don't need it. Yeah. See, you've already had like foresight with all this stuff, and you've been trimming down anyway.
Yeah.
Have you trimmed down even more?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I told you I've gotten to the point now, and I tell you, folks need to really think about it. Is I'll set a price in mind, and if it's over that price, then I'll just hold off and wait. Maybe I'll get it, maybe I won't. But I'm only going to spend what I'm willing to spend.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen a bunch of horror stories with this kind of stuff. The average price for a container is between 3,000 and 5,000. If you start trumping that up even more, I didn't mean to say that like that, but if you start, and so that leads into pricing. That's probably like one of the biggest things that people have been talking about with collecting everything. Do you think that we'll see prices go up significantly?
Absolutely. There's no to realistically believe that companies are going to be able to just absorb this cost. That just doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, at the end of the day, companies have costs too. It's not like all this is just straight profit, right? You got employees and taxes and everything that you got to pay. So they can't absorb not this much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting. I tell you that there was a discussion in the group, and then one guy said, hey, everybody just need to relax. That toys aren't something that we need. That these are a luxury.
I know.
And I think he kind of made the point though, and that's why everybody's a little concerned because, you know what? If this was something that you needed to survive, right? We would just come up with the money in order and just pay it.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't need this to survive. So it boils down to how much are you willing to actually spend for something that you really don't need. And it's going to become a reality for a lot of folks. You have to ask yourself, do I really need it this bad? Or do I have other obligations I need to take care of first? Because it's not like, this stuff isn't only affecting, toys. It's affecting everything we buy on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
And let's be honest, a lot of those items take priority and precedence over, action figures.
Mm-hmm. And knock on wood, we're just in the beginning of this, and there's already been people that have posted about how they've seen some of their orders. I think Craig said his order. No, it wasn't. Sal said he sees a Hot Toys Predator go up $100 more. I don't know if that's because it's aftermarket now, or is that because it hasn't come out and that's the tax that's been applied to it. And I had some pretty graphics for everybody, stuff like that. But it's I had some stuff today that kind of ruined it. But there's been a lot of talk about overpricing, and I'll give credit to the group, that one post that you were talking about. I was really surprised, man. I was like, this is gonna go sideways quick.
Yeah.
It's like, but you can't, You don't want to be this person that's like, oh, you can't say anything. We're only going to talk positively about toys. You know, you try to you try to treat people like they're an adults, and you're like, okay, well, all right, well, let's
Yeah.
try to just keep politics out about it. And we want to talk about this. Let's talk about, but let's talk about this in a grown up fashion. And man, and I'm not saying that they're kids or anything, you know what I mean? But I was very surprised. I thought they was going to go left and right, like you see in some of the other groups.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody was very civil, and like you said, when I saw that, I was like, it finally clicked with people. We talked about it on the show all the time. Everybody's always, oh, it's overpriced. It's too much money. It's like,
Yeah.
this is not a necessity.
Yeah.
And it's optional to buy
Yeah.
this stuff.
Yeah.
You know? It's so all right. But let's indulge. I don't even know how to ask this because we're in this thick of this thing right now. What do you consider to be overpriced?
It's funny you asked that question because I was kind of thinking the same thing. I'd love to know what everybody else's comment would be too. It's like at what price point, basically, are you saying like where I say, okay, I just can't do it? I tell you, this is just me. I'm sure other people feel, the way they will about it. But the 112 price in itself, not only did it make sense, but that's a pretty sizable tag for something that a lot of times I just have sitting around in a box. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, for me personally, when you start talking about some of these, when you start approaching the 140, the 150, I blink twice pretty easily. Pretty easily. Once we get above, 130, I'm really asking myself, how bad do I really need it?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're talking about a pretty big purchase. So, for me, in my opinion, 25% is probably about all the room that I personally have as far as or a taste for.
Mm-hmm.
I think if it ever got more than that 25%, it would probably be enough for me to change strategy, to say the least.
Yeah.
And certainly become far more, selective over what I buy, which I've already done that. I mean, you guys know that. If something like I gotta like it in order for me to buy something. I've done a pretty good job of weaning myself off the FOMO.
Mm-hmm. Hey, highly posable, how you doing? Seen everybody else's stuff I'm throwing up as we go. Good to see you, Ian. He said the Drunken Master Jackie Chan figure was listed as $111,000. Is that a? It's got to be a typo. Maybe, you don't know. Yeah, you make a great point. So here's the thing. A lot of the stuff that's going on, and this is a prolonged segue to what I'm going to talk about next, which is shipping. Um, when you see a price point that says like 112, but then you see it go up to 116, and then you add on the shipping, and it's the total price you're looking at, you get kind of hesitant.
Well, I'm talking about before shipping.
So you
Before
don't
shipping.
include shipping into
I
that
don't include the
equation at
shipping.
all.
Yeah, I don't include the shipping.
So price
Unless
of
I'm looking at,
whatever the company is
yeah,
asking for.
yeah.
Okay. Oh God, dude, you're oof. Sorry. He said he's two figures into Ghostbusters. Yeah, those things.
Ooh.
Yeah. And he's what? Yeah, they're like 140 mark. Kind of makes you think. Yeah, it does. Yeah. The cancellation of Sideshow is going to be massive if they don't have a full plan. Yeah. Sideshow gives you money back if you're doing payment plans. Yeah, and this is a good thing too. Like, you know how I just reacted to that. I've seen the price point of that. I know that price point because having some of that information. I know that all that is for production, advertisement, design, development, paying your employees, trying to make a profit so you can move on to the next project. So I get it. Like that's why I asked about the overpriced thing.
Yeah.
Is and then I had, so I'll shortcut this, but I had graphics showing the pricing for the last year, because I went back a year, and to show, even though it fluctuates between these 1 and 2 figure offerings, the price point has been pretty consistent. It's been around that 95 to 112 mark, right?
Yeah.
So this is a $4 increase. And so I don't know.
$4 is funny.
I know, heaven forbid, right? $4.
Yeah, $4 is funny, yeah.
Yeah. I think some of the I need to put a pin in this. I think some of that is partly due because times are financially hard for people in different ways. I've seen a lot of people selling stuff because they've had medical issues and roof repair, just life, kids, food's going up. So that disposable income that you had, it's gone or it's cut back a lot. So those $4 do add up to different people in different ways. And so I get it. But I think a lot of it was rooted in the fact that nobody had this figure, everybody was speculation. And that's the pin that I want to put. If we go down this road, and I'm not trying to like start beef with anybody or anything else like that, but it goes back to that thing we're talking about in the groups and having like productive conversations, you know?
Yeah.
I think a lot of stuff is going to change, man. Not just with collecting. I think another thing that's going to change is like content creation. Because you're going to see a lot of people say, I got this figure and I'm reviewing it and I'm trashing it. And somebody's going to say, I don't have any way to buy that figure as it is. And you get it and you're just shitting on it. I'd love to have that figure. You know? There's going to be some stuff that changes with this kind of stuff. Nobody's going to want to really hear a lot of people complaining because somebody's going to say, I can't buy eggs. I can't buy diapers. You know? And then also, there's going to be people going to want reliable information. If I have money, you know what I mean? I need to know exactly what I'm going to be getting.
Yeah.
And so some of that's going to change too. And that goes in with the overpricing stuff. Somebody's going to be like, is this worth my value? I think there's ways that you can do it, but I honestly think like if people keep trashing companies and trashing product, because that product's going to be limited anyway. If you keep doing that, you're not going to have a company because they're not going to produce it because nobody's buying it. You're not going to have any product to talk about. And then you're not going to have anybody that's going to be listening to you, you know? That's what I mean about stuff like, I really think stuff is going to change. I don't know if it's going to be good or if it's going to be bad, but I think the overpricing thing is a little bit misunderstood. I think it's mainly people are in a position now where they don't have the disposable income, so everything looks expensive now.
Yeah.
And everything's scrutinized a little bit more, obviously, because it's the value of whatever money you're going to put towards whatever you're buying.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. I think everybody, when you look at something like when things are this expensive, and like you said, the wallets tend to shrink. It's really just being financially responsible to ask yourself, do I really need it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's really all it boils down to. Hey, do I really need this figure? Or would these funds be better served, on groceries for the week, or the utility bill, or whatever it is you got going on. And there's nothing wrong with that. People need to quit acting like they have to be ashamed. It's financial responsibility. Don't dig yourself a hole.
Do you remember how we used to talk about this a lot?
Yeah.
Saying, hey, it's okay. Like, you know how in the groups you'll see people call people poor? Oh, and I even made a joke about it, didn't I?
Yeah.
I was like, one day you could lose your job and you can be put in this position. Well, it's not the same position you losing your job, possibly, but now the playing field's getting a little bit even, a little bit level. And so now you may not be able to go out and maybe buy as many as you had before, or even buy the figure that you wanted. I think people are having a better understanding of that. Yeah, you are going to have to decide if things are, and there's nothing wrong with saying I can't I mean, how many episodes we said that before in the past? There's nothing wrong with saying, yo, I just can't get this right now.
Yeah.
It's okay to say it. But
Yeah.
then also, people shouldn't be jumping on other people because they can't afford it, you know?
Yeah.
This is something else, too, like goes along with overpricing. So all the companies are kind of adjusting everything for these possible tariffs, right?
Right.
And some of them are raising their prices. And there's a lot of speculation going around is that if they raise this stuff because those policies have changed, should they also, if this gets worked out, readjust that pricing to go back down to what it was originally?
Well, I think with all things, it always tends to go down slower than it went up, right? Like, but
If at all.
a lot of it's going to depend on us as the consumer, right? If prices, let's say, heaven forbid, Mezco goes to 154 for a standard offering, right? And they're still selling out in 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as a business, you got to look at that and say, well, you know what? People are willing to pay 154. So if my cost goes down, let's all remember, I mean, companies are in it to make a profit. So if I can sell my product at a premium and you'll still buy it, why would I not sell it at the premium? Like, I can't think of a business out there that says, you know what? That's good enough. I don't need to sell it for that.
Yeah.
Right? It's supply and demand. You're going to sell it at a price where it moves. That's the nature of the business. Yeah. If I have it marked at 145 and I can't move them and they're sitting there, it's going to come down. But if I can list it at 145 and it's selling out, that means, the model's working.
So kind of like what we talked about before, you need to speak with your buying dollars and not with on message boards, because
you vote with your wallet. Yeah.
Like for me, and again, it's my personal situation, but for me, when I think something is overpriced, to me that means it's something that I don't want to I don't want to put a bunch of money in. I don't ever look at whatever the product is and says that's overpriced. I don't know what went into it. Sculpting, tooling, whatever it is, whatever. I mean, I'm sure people look at Porsches and they say it's overpriced.
Yeah.
Right? It's not an economical car. It's, it's for rich people, but it's priced point at a certain amount because of the engineering and work that they put into it. You may not agree with it, but they also price point it, and people don't take this into consideration either. They price point their product because they know it's good. They know people that are going to buy are going to spend the money for it. And they limit the production. It's less production on them. You know what I mean? And then they also make a great profit to be able to reinvest into their product. I don't think a lot of people understand that either. Yeah. These companies, they're not going to keep putting out stuff and making $11.
Right. Why bother?
Yeah, right. They're not. So like overpriced to me is just something I'm like, I can't afford it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could I go out if I wanted a BMW right now, 5 Series, I could make it happen.
Yeah.
That's not me bragging about it. I'm just saying I can make it happen. I may not be able to eat. I may not be able to go out and do the stuff I want. I wouldn't buy toys or anything else like that. But for me, even though it's price point out of what I want, if I really want it, I would have to make sacrifices. And it's the same thing with toys. Like it's not,
Yeah.
So, what's the chat? Oh, this might. CC said, "Do we need a pimp pound?" That thing looked really good though. The gridiron thing.
Yeah.
Shipping. We're gonna talk about that in a second. The last 3 days the sideshow had limited figures, took hours or days to sell out. Disposable income, people don't have it.
Yeah. And that'll be the thing that will tell them that that's not a sustainable price. You know what I mean? These companies are aware of this stuff.
Thank you, Malta. Appreciate you, man. And you would be fighting CC today because he's the champion. Yeah. So that's what I thought about pricing. I don't want to beat that one into the ground too much, but I do think that now that people are receiving figures in hand, people are kind of seeing, okay, this is where that money went into. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You may not agree with it, you may not think that it's worth it, but from what I've seen, there's been some pretty positive stuff. I did see somebody break their Woodford arm. I felt bad for him about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he showed it on in the chat. I was like, he's like, oh man, I just got this thing, and I go, ooh, God, ugh. But everybody else I've seen, it's been pretty good. I got a reply from V Toys, and they said that they will pay extra for my pre-orders. Yeah. Have you seen the other? There's been a couple other companies too that have said that they're gonna do that. Kind of offset the cost a little bit. I think somebody sent me a clip of because I was trying to get all this information. Somebody sent me a clip of Valor's, like Bobby Valor, and he said that he didn't have any intention in raising prices at this moment. He was very careful about saying that because you know how the internet likes to grab onto shit. Like, you promised us that you weren't going to raise prices, Todd McFarlane, and it's like you get caught. But he said for now. But I mean, even that's telling. That's like saying, "Yo, I do have a business to run, and I gotta feed my family. I gotta feed their families, and I'm trying to make a profit." So, so yeah, there wasn't a lot of, and if you look at most of the stuff that we've gotten lately, it's all been around the same price point. The last two figures, they hit that 116 threshold, and so I think the graphic I was going to show is they usually kind of fluctuate. They have some stuff that's like 95, 60 if you want to include Masrsk if you go back all the way a couple of years. But they kind of like do this thing where they offset certain stuff. And if you look at it, a lot of times is because they will take, I guess, whatever that project money is, and they kind of shift it around to another project. So you get more, you know?
Yeah.
So some of them may be lower priced, or some of them may be higher priced, but you get less accessories. But there's another offering that's put out that you're like, holy crap, this is a lot more than what I usually get. And the graphic that I had kind of showed that. Like, you would have something where it would be a higher priced one, but then you would get something like I don't know, like the Decapod game or Doc Nocturnal. Doc Nocturnal was 120.
Yeah.
No offense to anybody, but I mean that figure has way more stuff. The Decapod, you get a lot of stuff, and so anyway. But that's what the graphic was. We won't beat that in there, but I think the telling thing is the next couple releases, what we kind of see with that, and that'll give people a better idea if this price point is going to be something they're going to be moving forward or not. What is it? I've seen a lot of third parties from China that straight up have stolen molds from Mezco. Yep, I've seen that too. Repackaging, and it's a different figure, and sell it for half. Yeah, I've seen guys sell prototypes, and they buy them over there. They'll buy the pieces and everything over there. Surely on one hand, they're happy that there is a fight to stop the IP theft, and on the other hand, they're probably upset about the rising costs. Yep, double-edged sword. Item I'm willing to pay even if I can't afford the item. Yes. Yeah, that's the distinction I'm trying to make. Like, I don't know if something is overpriced with the figures. I think it's all relative to whoever is buying it. You know what I mean? That's what I was trying to get at. I'm sure it's more gray than black and white, but maybe I'm wrong. No, I've heard people say that, like some of the cause of that. So that leads into shipping. Shipping was probably the most that I spent time on. MC was going to be here, and he had some good stuff too. He had more of the single item stuff. But what's your take on shipping? Because I know you said earlier you separate it from the actual price of the figure.
Yeah.
You don't feel like it has anything to do with it.
Well, I'm not going to say that, but I don't tend to hold a company accountable for the shipping. You know what I mean? It's kind of out of their hands. So I tend to ignore that part. Maybe that's just my way of making it sound more reasonable, than what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But that's another one of those things where it kind of you change your spending habits, right? This van, I went with big. I didn't order direct from ramen because after shipping, I could get it from Big Bad, and I think it was like I want to think it was like $10 in my favor versus what it was going to cost to get it shipped from ramen directly. Because with Big Bad, I did the $4, flat rate.
Mm-hmm.
So it took me a little longer to get it, but I saved a few bucks. So, I think it's kind of the same thing with Mezco. If you go through the Mezco retailers, a lot of those guys, it's free shipping.
Right. Yeah, shipping.
Responsible.
Yeah, shipping's. I need to pull this up because I know somebody's gonna be dissecting this and they'll try to say, "Oh, I'm gonna call bullshit on this page." I'm like, that's fine. You can call it, but I don't do it either. Like I know shipping is part of it. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing you can really do about that. I think that one of the things that goes around is that, and in a way I understand because collectors feel that Mezco is charging them the shipping, that they're part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the things I've heard is like, oh, they're screwing us on the shipping. And I think that there needs to be a separate line with that. It's not Mezco. I'll get to it in a second, everybody that wants to fight on this. It's not Mezco, it's the carrier.
Mm-hmm.
And I have some information for you that shows that it's the carrier and it's a separate cost. I can see somebody saying, well, Mezco is choosing the carrier company that's not benefiting the customer. And that's why I went and I did this like independent kind of like pricing, right?
Yeah.
So I can separate the two. I know it's FedEx. And so one of the first things I did was I called FedEx and said, hey, I want to open up a business account. I was like, what are the options? What am I, what are the advantages? What are the disadvantages? How are you tailoring this? Acted like I was a company like Mezco, as a toy company. And they say, yeah, we have this program where you ship out stuff, you get everything, you can add these like little extras onto it, just like a car or something. I said, okay. I said, cool. So let's say I'm moving like 10,000 units of a toy.
Mm-hmm.
I said, how do you guys price that? And they said, well, what we do is the more you ship, the cheaper it would be.
Mm-hmm.
And so already my wheels are turning. So let's say you have a limited production run of something, and the pre-orders don't go through on all those units, you're not really passing that discount off on the shipping part of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I was always wondering why some things fluctuate. Obviously, it goes from it's from New York or Washington, right?
Right.
So depending on where you're getting your package delivered to, it's going to change the rate, right?
Right.
So and then also how many you ordered and everything else. And so I asked them, I was like, do you guys you guys go by dimensions? Do you go by weight? And they said, well, it depends like on what plan you have and everything else like that. But mainly we go by dimensions. And so I said, okay. And so I said, okay. And I took a couple of figures with me and I said, I said, okay, I'm going to ship this to New York. Here's the address. Can you tell me how much it is? And they said, sure. And so one of them that I had, and again, before somebody shoots holes in this, remember, it's going to be different from where it's being distributed to where you live. I'm only giving you my price points, okay? So if I had one that was like, let's say tangerine, right? Make sure you get it right, Paige. Don't mess this up. That dude was on his fucking line about everything. Trying to cover for Mezco? No, I'm just giving you the information. Just like I'll fight with you about the other thing too. Fight for you on this other thing too. So the thing I had for tangerine was I think I paid, it was $26, right? So for example, I went and I got tangerine. I sent it as a single, as a double, right? And the shit, so it was $26, right? If I gave that to FedEx, they told me it would cost me for ground $28 to ship it back to New York. 28.21. So I was like, okay, that's $2. That's probably the discount that they're getting, right? And I was like, okay, it's kind of like the same, but not, it's a little bit more expensive, but and then I said, okay. I said, what about I said, so that's ground. Does that include the signature? She said no. That's an extra $6. So 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. $34, right? So I was like, oh. So it's like $34. She said if you want to express, it's gonna be $89. And then I did a bunch of other ones, but they were all at least between $3 to $8 depending on the weight. And again, I'm not business, so they're not going to buy other stuff. And they would always tack on that $6. Thoughts? He's like, I'll put them down. What is it saying? I'm done with. Oh, I didn't want to put that up.
Come on. My apologies. I had a visitor.
Oh no, it's no problem. She can weigh in on this as well.
She's not a big fan of shipping. Not a big fan of shipping.
Yeah, but
we've talked about shipping a little bit in the past. You know what I'm saying? And I wish I had a little more information as far as how the deals work and everything. But I've seen people say they like the options and things like that. But to build that all into your infrastructure and everything, and just your God, what is the word? Your system where people are making their purchases. You know what I mean? 'Cause you've had people talk about the same thing with Four Horsemen and things like that. Because maybe DHL might be a better service in your area, or maybe you do wish you could just play for regular, UPS ground or that type of things to offer cheaper options.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure there's certain costs and savings, like you said, because it's based on the amount that you're shipping.
Right.
Trying to think. I think the last time I shipped from Hasbro, I think we were talking about that. The last time I got something from Hasbro, it came DHL or something like that. It was a different service, but I didn't choose it. You know what I mean? They chose it for me.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that they're just shipping based on whatever is cheapest for them. You know what I mean? It's just kind of one of them things we just have to learn to accept. To me.
Yeah, I think the point I'm trying to make is that a lot of people will attach that shipping cost as the total of whatever that figure is and say, oh, it's the company's fault. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying anybody. It's like, oh, I have to pay this much money.
Yeah.
And I get it. At the end of the day, it's all money and you're purchasing, and that's part of your decision to purchase something. But there seems to be a lot of blowback for shipping companies. Like it's separate. I get it. It's part of the total, but a lot of the chatter that goes around is, oh, Mezco's fucking us with this shipping. It's like, no, it's FedEx. And I got a nice little conversation with one of my friends, and he's like, well, and he made some good points. And he's like, well, the way that things are going right now, you would think that companies would look for cheaper options because you want to keep your customer, which perfect sense. And to your example, using DHL, obviously Hasbro's like, yo, we gotta like cut some of this down, you know?
Yeah.
And so, but I don't think any company goes out intentionally and says, yeah, let's go screw these guys on the shipping. I think they look at it and they decide. And he had some other good points about, he said, well, why don't they just drop the signature request? And he goes, it's a hassle anyway. I go, I agree, but I go, come on, let's be realistic. We've all been in groups and we've all seen guys going, yo, I can't wait to get another figure for free. That shit adds up, man.
Yeah.
Because people are doing stuff that they think is beneficial to them or they think it's funny, but that cost, it gets passed on to your fellow collector. You didn't return that TMNT and they made the mistake. Hey man, I understand. But you didn't return it. So the other guy, he doesn't get his.
Yeah.
I know it's the company's fault, but the other collector didn't get it.
Yeah.
And guess what?
No, you're right. I was just going to say, we were joking not too long ago about how, we were going to find out what it feels like to be an international collector. And that's really what a lot of this is like. Now all of a sudden we've got this added cost, we want to blame it on the company, but it's not their fault. It's kind of like we were saying, before, when the whatever the cost is to get that stuff into Canada or wherever it is going, Mezco's not getting that money.
They're not.
Yeah, that's just the cost of doing business. They're not getting that money. So that it's the same thing with these tariff surcharges. They're not getting that. So any cost we see right now, that's price of doing business.
Yeah, I was separating because like I made a point to somebody and I said, you do understand those are separate costs. I understand it's a total cost. I totally get it. You're paying all of that money regardless of who it's going to. You're paying all that money. I totally acknowledge that. But I was like, you're blaming whatever company because of the shipping. And that's when the conversation turned to, well, they could be doing other stuff. And I don't know. I'll be honest with you. Like I said, I've seen people in the group say, yo, I'm going to get another figure. And if we're going to really pull back the curtain, how many times have you seen somebody in the group parting those figures out?
Yeah.
I get it. You're trying to like make money to support your collecting habit. Everyone's hustling. I'm not knocking it. But come on. You're wanting a free figure so you can make more money off of it.
Yeah.
And it's like, so for me, if I was a business, hell yeah, I'd have a signature, saying that you got it. I don't know if you're going to say, guess what? I didn't get it.
Yeah.
Now I'm out, what? $32 now.
Yeah.
Instead of the other one. So it's like it got brought up like, well, just don't put signature requests. You can't do that, man. You got to make sure that it's a high-end product. You got to make sure that people say that they received it. It's a hassle. I don't like it either. My FedEx guy comes to my door every single day, and he always asks me for my driver's license. I'm like, dude, aren't we past this now? I'm like, come on, man. You can't use the excuse I cut my hair and you don't know who I am. I'm like, come on, man. And this is a comment too. I think that's the problem. Everybody wants to blame somebody for something. Everybody's gonna blame different people for whatever it is. It doesn't change the fact that whatever is happening is happening.
Yeah.
You can point and say that's his fault. Okay, it's still happening. It's what are you gonna do to work around it? It's a good segue to bring us to that because when we talked about earlier about preparation and trying to figure out what you can do, because unfortunately, this is what's happening. It's how you're going to react to it. Putting blame on somebody, no offense to what you're saying, it's not solving the problem. One quick other thing too. So he made a good point. He's like, well, why don't they get rid of the signature, right? He also said, well, why don't they find another character, just like a carrier, just like you said, right, with DHL?
Yeah.
So I went to. They're not going to use UPS. Let's be honest. And I didn't call DHL or ask DHL any of that stuff. I should have, but I figured I already went too far into this anyway. I did go to UPS and I think to send that package, the same package to New York, because you would have, again, I wouldn't let go of the signature request thing, but you can just look at pricing. To send that same package back to New York, it was going to be $24.16. Bigger boxes were going to cost $31.95. That's without a signature. And if you did add a signature for the smaller box, I think it was Tangerine, it was going to come out to $31.36. And then for Woodford, it would have been $39.15. I asked them, I said, slowest way possible. It doesn't have to be next day. That was the rate. So you're already paying way more in shipping. Shipping is going to go up no matter what carrier you're going to. And that's something that is going to be a factor with all of this too.
Yeah.
So now that we have all that laid out, CC, besides cutting our collections in half, what do you think we should do? Because you only deserve 2 Mezcos, not 30.
Yeah.
That was on the fly.
Yeah.
I worked on it.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? It's realistic, man. You know, it's for me, this isn't a day that, you know, just all of a sudden it's here and I never really thought about it. You know, you said this is something I put a lot of look, it all started, you know, with space. You know, we always talk about space is finite.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can only have room for so much stuff. But you know what? Wallets are finite too. I still remember, you know, a couple years ago, man, my big bad pre-order checklist was long. I mean, I think at its longest, it's probably 45 figures probably on pre-order at one time. I think I counted. You know, I've got 3 is what I've got now. So it's a big difference, you know, and I really, really focus on just collecting the things that I like. I don't feel like I have to have it all.
Did you feel that way before? Like you had?
Yeah, man. I had everything. It was bad. I had everything. Well, I mean, you know, we've been. Man, how long has it been since we started doing this now, Paige? Are we getting close to 3 years?
Yeah, we've been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah. So, you know, 3 years ago, man, I was collecting Marvel Legends and Black Series and you know, Mayfix, and I had some Transformers and just anything cool. I was on it. That whole, you know, pre-order now and not pay anything. Oh yeah, it cost you nothing to put it in the cart, and I was taking full advantage. Advantage, you know. So it was ridiculous. Ridiculous. Yeah. If there was anything at all, you know, it was no hesitation. I just jumped on it. And then, you know, things start to pile up and you start assessing, you know, that this just doesn't make any sense. So I think once you get it under control, in all honesty, I think collecting becomes a little more enjoyable. You know, when you're a little more selective and you can spend time with things and enjoy it more, it just makes it easier. For me, collecting started to get stressful because it was coming in faster than I could literally enjoy it.
Yeah, I still feel that way now. Like, I used to feel stress about getting it. Like Mezco, man, if you were collecting back in the early days, you knew that screen when it popped up and you clicked it and it transferred to the final screen and it would just show that cog and you're like, oh God, I missed it. Because, you know, and now, and I know a lot of people like to bang on website, you know, oh, the website sucks. I'm like, oh my gosh, like 1 or 2 times it happens, like with pricing, and everybody like loses their mind about it. I remember, like I said, when you didn't know, you had to go to your email really quick to check and see if you got it. And now, the worst case scenario, I mean, you get kind of booted out. That did happen with Crab Louie. Somebody mentioned, and this we've been preaching this for a while. Jason said, PayPal and Ford. We've been doing that for a while because it's a great way. I couldn't do it with
Mhm.
Louis. It kept booting me out. And I was, I guess it's the military in me. It's like, okay, this isn't working. What do I do now? And I just paid for it.
Yeah.
I mean, it sucks that streak is broken, but I mean, I would have kept doing it anyway. But you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
PayPal 4 is definitely something that's kind of like helped and hindered, buying and stuff. But yeah, they had there was a glitch. It messed up last time, and I couldn't do it. I went through a couple times, and I'm like, I'm not missing out on this. So yeah, PayPal 4 is there, but I agree with you. It comes a point when even then I started thinking, I go, wait a minute, man, what's going on? At least
Yeah.
this is not as stressful as it used to be. You're not late. You're here. Mezco should do the build a figure. You know what? Any ambitious projects they have, I think they would be smart to like just hold off right now. That's
Yeah.
yeah. What is it, Mike? Was it you build what you want if you don't have the money or time? Yeah, I think that would be cool. Like if they threw in some parts, maybe that'd be an incentive, kind of like what Hasbro's formula does. But would they be accused of copying them when, you know? Or does Hasbro even do build a figures anymore? PayPal didn't show up for this when I got it. Yeah, it's the same way. Oh God, what was the other thing I was asking? What were we just talking about? My mind's going like 10,000 places with all this. Oh, here's something really quick. So it kind of goes back to what we were talking about, like overpriced. And I mentioned it a little bit last episode, but maybe to kind of revisit it. So if everything is like overpriced and the way that things are going right now and people are cutting back, uh, what about some of these bigger like things that are supposed to be coming out?
Hmm.
Like the lab, the Land Reaper. I mean, there's big projects out there. That's another reason why I mentioned in the beginning of the show, you know, try to prep during these slow months that
Yeah.
nothing is coming out. Save some money, save $10, $20 here and there, put it towards your pre-orders or put it towards any of the stuff that is supposed to be coming out. We've had a list of stuff that we've seen at the convention.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but what do you think about bigger projects?
Yeah. Like you said, I mean, I think companies would be smart to just kind of put a pin on it and just wait to see where things shake out. Because who really has the extra cash for for something like that? If you're looking at a 30% increase on a $300 item, that's still another $100. So the difference of paying $400 or something for three, that's a big difference. That's a really big difference.
Yeah. Now we're being forced to really choose what we really want and accept at high prices of it. So instead of having 300 now, we'll probably have a handful. I think for some people, yeah. I think for like hardcore collectors, they'll find a way to get what they want.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested in seeing what the aftermarket, what that happens with that.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have people that are able to buy at the price point now, we've all seen it before in the past. FOMO hits and then somebody sees how good stuff is
Mm-hmm.
and then they want it. Now maybe that pushes people more into like being more aware of pre-ordering and saying, kind of suspending some of this stuff that happens all the time. Like, I'm not going to get it. It looks like it sucks, or listening to other people.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I meant the content. You know, I know Molotov talked about blame. Nobody ever. A lot of people project their blame at companies for missing out on something when it goes up for pre-order, and everybody gets in their little sewing circles and said it sucks, and the company gets blamed for it either going out quickly or that not being available anymore when there was an opportunity to pre-order it. Nobody puts the blame on themselves or the person that they listened to that said, "Yeah, that's a pass. It sucks. Don't get it."
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Whatever. What is it? The ramen musk is a big item.
Yeah. Yeah. How's that going to affect things?
Yeah. I saw also. I think there was a post about him like pushing something back or doing something back because of some of that stuff.
Yeah.
I think the Mezco audience is safe. It's a retail figure I don't worry about. Parents are going to buy $50. Parents aren't going to buy. Yeah. Yeah. That's really it, man. That's really it. And just think, CC, this is it. We won't talk about it no more, I promise. Unless something major happens.
Yeah. It's interesting.
But, yeah. Do you have any final thoughts about it?
Yeah, it's just it's so strange to me. It just seems like when you think about just the whole like cycle of collecting over the last 5 years, like heading into COVID and the way things kind of evolved, and now it's devolving a little bit. It just really kind of just still makes you wonder what the future of collecting really looks like, because I do feel like a lot of this was artificially inflated. A lot of people really got into these hobbies because it was locked down and we were looking for things to do, and there was extra money out there and we didn't have anywhere else for it to go. So now it's kind of come full circle. So we'll see where things go, but it's interesting.
Do you think it's like a status thing?
I mean,
for some people, not across the board, but for some people.
Yeah, I think well, I mean, you bring up a real good point, because I can remember early on when I first started collecting Mezco, like it was a pretty elite group. You know what I mean? Like you had the haves and then you had the have-nots in the early on in Mezco, because like you said, that stuff was selling so quick that if you didn't get it, then you were paying 2 to 3 times retail in order to get a hold of it. And that was with every offering. It was zeroed out. And we all talked about before how back in the day, it was very common practice that if you were lucky enough, no matter what, you bought 2, right? Because if you bought 2, that second one was going to pay for your first one. And you were pretty much collecting for free as long as you had good Wi-Fi. Right? That was literally the way it was. Right?
Yeah.
And then, it got popular, production numbers increased, and you saw people start to complain that they couldn't flip it. And now all of a sudden they're paying for the collection instead of being able to subsidize it. Right? And now we're still in that same phase where, you can't subsidize your collecting anymore by thinking you're going to flip everything, because people aren't willing to pay that aftermarket price. You can get some really, really good prices on some Grail figures right now. Yeah. Really, really good. Like, it's unbelievable. Unbelievable. I've still got that OG pink skull set, and I'm not going to give it away.
Plug it right now. Plug it. How much?
I still got it, man. I still got it. I even lowered the price, and I just
$285, right?
Yeah. And then, to go any lower than that, I think would be just insane. So, if I have to sit on it, then I'll just sit on it, but
yeah, it was
at one point that was a $1,200 set. I'm glad I didn't pay $1,200 for it. You know what I mean? But there were people that did. There were plenty of people that did. So, it's interesting. But I sure remember the old Mezco days. I remember. I remember the guy that got me into Mezco, and I remember I got my very first Mezco I got from one of those raffles, and I got one, and thought it was terrific.
What was it again? What was the first one?
It was Batman, the blue and gray suit. Is that Ascending?
The blue and gray? That's the PX one, I think.
Yeah, PX Ascending Knight or whatever it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the first one. And I remember talking to the guy that got me into Mezco, or even told me about the company because I hadn't heard about it. And he's like, "Oh yeah, that's pretty cool." He's like, "But that's not even one of the good ones." You know what I mean? But he was one of those elitists, that I talked about.
Yeah.
He was one of those elitists, but that's what it was in the old days. It was the haves and have-nots.
Wow. Ian said he sold his collection, or sold $1,400 worth of Mezco, the various figures to comic shop today.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did they do cash or did they give you store credit? Not laughing at that. I'm just saying, like, is it which one?
Ran out of Batmobiles. Never thought we'd see that day.
Yeah. Oof, gosh. It's been about vacation for about 3 years since OG Vapor hit my habits and head can base. So if it fits, I'm intending on getting it. Yeah, I think people will adjust to. I already decided. I was like, I think I'm and it's nothing against the product. I like Legends. I think that they do a good job. I think all these toy companies do a very good job. I'm not nitpicking somebody's short color or I just don't have the time to do all that stuff. Especially when I know that if you read comics and you know anything about your favorite character, I'm sure you would be able to pick apart, whatever it is about that character. That's not the right hue red, or it comes to a point where it's like you said with finding like storage for all your figures. It comes to a point where it's like, geez, just let it go, man. Seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Because depending on how this goes, you're gonna be kicking yourself that you don't have that figure anymore, or they're not gonna make it. We've been really spoiled, man. Really spoiled. I get that companies don't complete teams sometimes for whatever reason, or you may not get the character version that you want, but dude, we've been doing really well in terms of options, not just from one company, but from all companies. I don't like if you don't like Mezco's Wolverine, guess what? You can go get Masrsk. You can go get one of these third parties. That's why I never understood why anybody would complain about a figure. You just go to another company and get what you want.
Yeah.
Or here's a good idea. Why don't you make it yourself? I guarantee you it's a good exercise in learning how hard it is to actually make it. Or go to a customizer, because it's going to probably cost you 3 times more to make that figure because of all the work they have to put in. That's probably the hardest truth about all this. We've been spoiled, man. We really have.
Yeah. How many times have we talked about it in the past, man? It was really a golden age of collecting. Like there was literally there was something for everyone. Something. If you couldn't find something that that interests you, it was because you just weren't looking hard enough. You weren't looking hard enough.
I'm still hopeful. I hope that this episode's not like all doom and gloom. But I think people should be aware of it. I think you should be aware. You should prep for it. Get down in your basement cellar and put all your Mezcos down there. But I mean, just seriously, like, just be ready. Like, utilize this time. Like we talk. I talk about this show all the time, man. The show, it's ahead of its time in a lot of areas. Like, if you look back at some of the episodes, we always give good advice about certain things and to help you prepare for certain stuff. There's a lot of good information. And there are people that benefit from it, and there are people that are just like, nah, I'm not listening to this. And if you get anything out of this episode, it's take some of this time, like we've talked about before in the past on past episodes. Take this lull period and just prepare for whatever you're preparing for, whether it's life or whether it's toys, because this stuff is still going to come eventually, but we just don't know, what it's going to entail. If it's going to be more expensive or what.
Yeah.
And I hope it does go back to normal. I really do.
What is normal?
I don't think anything's gonna be normal. I think that
So, what would you consider normal? You know what I mean? Like, is normal, like what it was before when, with lower production numbers and, less offerings a year? You know what I mean? Is that the normal that we should expect? Like, I personally don't think we'll ever get back to that 30 to 40, Mezco releases a year. I don't think that's sustainable. For as much as everybody says they want that, I don't think anybody wants 30 to 40 $100 figures plus a year, realistically.
you said it before, like,
Yeah.
just be careful what you wish for. It really is. Like,
yeah.
I see people complain about that stuff all the time. That was the whole motivation about putting that end of the year list up, because everyone's, they put up too much IP. They put up, but just Mezco, like, I think somebody in the group, each one of those groups should do that, because it's a reality check. It's to show you, this is how many offerings, this is how many license, how many IP they did. If you want to like fight over whoever had the most, whatever, but at least you see the total amount of figures that came out, whether you collected all those figures or not, and then you see the price.
Yeah.
And we've seen how many times we put it on the show. We've seen those things like, oh, you would have spent 3,000 or 4,000.
Yeah.
That's how much they put out product wise.
Yeah.
And it is a reality check. And so, like you said, we've all said this. I would love for it to kind of be scaled back.
Yeah.
I would.
How long has classified line been around? About 4 years? 5 years?
I thought they went out of business.
But, yeah, I know. It's been dead for a minute, right? Classified's been dead for a while. So it's been a slow death. But what are they up to now on the numbers? Isn't it like 157 or something like that? I think was the last box number that I saw.
I think it was what Ian said earlier. It's 111,000, 1,100.
Something like that. I mean, these numbers are, like they're just cranking them out, and that's just one line. One line. We like you said, we were spoiled with the number of offerings and everything that we had. There was some great stuff. We really can't complain. Great stuff.
Yeah, I think people will realize that if this goes the way that I still think it's going to have some effect. I think there might be prices at a little bit higher that maybe price point some people out or limit you. I'm wondering, like, if you are a completist, like if you're a unicorn now. I don't know how many people are really going to be able to complete lines anymore.
Yeah.
My friend, he's a diehard Marvel Legends collector, and he's already skipped 2 waves already. He's just I can't do it.
Yeah.
Diehard, like.
Yeah.
So it's gonna redefine some things, and it's gonna affect a lot of other things too. You said something. You know what? I think and I don't mean this to be bad. I think you're gonna find out who. How do I say this? I think you're gonna find out who it goes into what you were talking about with like people reselling to support like collecting.
Yeah.
I think you're really gonna see who's collecting because they really like the line and they like the product. I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah. Collecting for the love of it. Imagine that. Collecting just for the love of it.
Yeah. Like it won't be for like clout chasing. It won't be for, it won't be like flexing or having a bit or other stuff too, because some of those guys are probably gonna have to eat some of the cost. You can't keep buying like 6 or 7 figures and doing all that other stuff. But let's catch up. Let me catch up. I think it'll have some change and some benefits too. My collecting habits have changed because not everything is a must-have, regardless of the toy line, and I find myself passing on a lot of figures. Missing a pre-order or strike quick purchase does not have the same sting as it used to. Yeah. Is this collecting's woke moment?
I feel him on that. Sometimes when you miss out, it's almost like a collective sigh of relief. You're like, woo, I almost had to pay for that. Yeah, they did me a favor. Was that I told you? You know, I told you that
Oh yeah, Louis.
Woodford, wasn't it? It was Woodford. I got saved by the wait list.
Yeah, and then you're like, I didn't even get on it.
Yeah, I almost caved. I thought about it. Like, man, that's cool. No, it was Crab Louie. Crab Louie was the one.
Yeah.
I was like, man, that's cool. And then I went back and it finally waitlisted. Yeah, that's when you were like, well, did you get on the wait list? No, I didn't do it.
I think I'm done with. I stopped collecting, even though Bandai showed all their Star Wars stuff, and I'm like, damn it. They had some good stuff coming out, and I'm like, damn, dude. And then, but I'm away from that. I'm away from Marvel, Bandai stuff. Nobody really. I don't even know if they have a figure coming out for that line anyway. Yamaguchi's been really good because I haven't seen anything from them in a while. At least anything that I'm interested in.
Yeah.
And then I got Joe Legends. I've kind of like just gotten away from. And then, but I love Joe's. And I kind of like Mezco.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little.
Shwek. But yeah, those like Joe's and Mezco, and then even like you said, there's been some Joe's. There's so many. I've been like, did I pre-order that? I can't remember. Or do I need that? So I mean, slowly I'm coming around to that, and I think next year I will do what I said. What last year? I think I'll cut down on multiples of Mezco. Before it was because of the QC stuff. You never knew, like, if you got a Punisher, if the wrist snapped, it was pretty much done.
Right.
And so I have that habit of buying two. And now I'm getting to a point where I'm like, okay, I believe personally that I haven't had a figure break in a long time, a long time. And so I'm like, do I really need two now anymore? Unless it's an armor builder. I mean, right. I have to have 3 frogs, so just stack your money for about 3.5 more years, and you should be good. Maybe, yeah, for one release, right? Evidently, yeah. Yeah. I think that's all I got, man. You have anything else? We beat this horse pretty dead.
The topic that we should never revisit again. Is that what you're saying?
Unless MC brings it up, because he had his notepad of stuff he was going to talk about.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what really gets me pissed off. He said, like, Woodford comes out and all you see is Woodford shots for weeks, but you don't see. Yes, I've said this before. Remember when everybody was making a big deal about that MDX blade? There was only 2 of. Yeah. I have one of that one, by the way. I traded a PX Punisher for it. Well, I had an extra, and if you're sitting that pocket of time, there was only 2 of those things out there, and I'm like, oh god, I gotta have this. And so I got in contact with the dude, and I traded a PX Punisher for it, and I got it. And then it was like months later they came out with it, but everybody was like, oh crap, there's only 2 of those figures. Why won't Mezco make it? And as soon as they made it, they put it out. People were like, oh, this is cool. And for a week, people took shots of it, and then it was done.
Yeah.
I mean, you could probably go down a list of figures that everybody was so hyped about. And, it's the flavor of the week, like Ian said. What do you think the odds are that we will get any more Mezco Indiana Jones line? I you know what? I don't know. What do you think, CC? Oh, you want a solo spotlight for your van?
I'm still messing around with it. What was the question? You said Mezco?
What do you think the odds are that we'll get any more Mezco Indiana Jones lines from the Indiana Jones line?
I mean, I have to imagine that there's still some of that other stuff coming because I mean, there were reveals, that some were taken back, after they finished. So I have to think some of that stuff is still probably coming.
Yeah.
And I would think they would want to take full advantage of. I can't imagine paying for a license and not trying to maximize on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that Indiana Jones is really well done. Really well. I got to get another pedestal for mine, but that Indiana Jones is really well done.
Yeah, he is, man. You know, this is a good question because I saw somebody comment about like G.I. Joe today too. They were like, "Oh man, we want more G.I. Joe line." And I don't know how many times we've talked about this on the show too, the importance of like pre-ordering and stuff like that. But a lot of times, I don't think people realize that effect it has on a line when people are just shitting on it before it comes out. I'm telling you, man, like companies, I know people don't think Mezco communicates or does. They just put shit on the website and they say, all right, have at it. But they read those comments to a certain extent. And if they see that there is an interest in the character, they don't move forward with it. And then they go by the pre-order numbers. If the pre-order numbers aren't there, then they're like, this line is not successful. We're not going to continue it. So, and it goes hand in hand with like groups and stuff like that. That does, man. I see it all the time, I guess, because I'm in there all the time. And you can see how interest in a line or a figure, how everybody they can start saying stuff, and then you'll see other people adopting that, and they go, it's not good, not good, not good. And then the figures come out, and they're decent. That circle, that Mezco circle cycle.
Yep.
And now everybody wants it, or they're backtracking. But the pre-order only put out so many production numbers and you can't get it. And then the company says it's not viable.
Yeah.
So, so I keep telling people, wait until the thing comes out, man. If you pre-order, if you want it, I mean, I think you should pick it up. If you don't, it's not your bag of tea. That's cool. But they use these things for metrics to gauge the interest of the character in the line. So if it's not like they're not going to continue it. Enjoyed the hangout as always. See you guys next week. Good night. Good night, Roger. Yeah. I think San Diego and New York, if they're there, I think that'll be a good measuring stick to see where the lines are going. I still want the Black Widow they teased. Yeah, so do I. I heard she's never going to do that role again. Did you hear about that?
I did not hear that. That's sad.
Yeah. Oh, did you see the new, what are we calling it? Are we calling it Thunderbolts or the new Avengers? Is that a spoiler?
I haven't seen it yet. I want to see it though.
Yeah, I've heard good things about it. I'm gonna go see it. I wanted to go this weekend, but just busy. But I would still. They don't even have to do a Scarlett Johansson. I think that they could get away with a comic version of it on the Seamless body. Come on, come around. Like, damn, Paige has been saying that for years. Seamless is the future. So, I'm sorry. Yeah. CC, correct me. Semi-seamless is the future.
Semi-seamless.
Yeah.
Hybrid.
Do you want to see more Joes?
I'm really shocked we haven't gotten. Well, I mean, you can't have a line and not do Cobra Commander, right?
Yeah.
It almost seems like they got to give us a Cobra Commander. I do hope they avoid the troopers, though. I don't want Mezco army builders. I don't need that kind of pressure. So we can skip that. But I would love to see them give us a Cobra Commander, and man, if they did a Serpentor or some of those other like Zartan, I'd love to see like a sure enough deluxe we just talked about pricing, and here I am talking about I'd like to see a Mezco Deluxe. Let me be quiet. Maybe in another climate. Maybe in another.
No. I think it's a good idea because if you cut down on the offerings,
Yeah.
and they do put a deluxe, and you know what? Maybe that'll. I think they're fine with it. You know, I get the whole deluxe edition kind of thing, but
Yeah.
maybe the pressure will be taken off of them too, where they can say, you know what, deluxe is gonna be deluxe.
Yeah.
It's gonna be PX Punisher Deluxe. You might pay a little bit more, but you're gonna get a deluxe.
Yeah.
Because you're not trying to put out so much stuff. So maybe, like you said, you'll have a Cobra Commander with a bunch of stuff, and
I think it would be awesome.
yeah,
I think it'd be awesome, and I think it gives Mezco the chance to really show off. Give you, just give me one offering. I said a long time ago, I'm good with one Mezco a month. I'm good with that. For me, that's like the right number. And even then, I could get away with, one Mezco a quarter is about all I could really get with and play with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, if they did something like that and like just gave you like a super loaded Zartan or, Cobra Commander, I'd be all in. All in.
It's one of their strengths. I think that's across the board. When I do watch somebody's review, that's probably one of the highlights that I see consistently amongst every reviewer is like the accessories.
Mm-hmm.
So that's their strong suit. So to have more time to be able to pack in, I don't know, like, God, who was it? Oh, so I had the blank and I opened him up. And I love Dick Tracy. I know it's an MVX. But he, I was looking at it, I go, wow, I thought he had more accessories. I mean, I know the character, and off the top of my head, besides what he was given, I don't know what else I would have gave him.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I understood the choice, but I was like, it would have been cool if he had a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I understood why they did it. But those kinds of things, it's like you have those kind of characters, and they'll have more stuff. So. Oh, another thing I saw a bunch of people. This was pretty a hot topic. I'll throw this out to you. So we all know that they're customs. They're just Black Skull's Death Brigade wrapped up in some bandages. I see a lot of people talking about these mummies.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Would I want Mezco mummies?
Yeah, did you see, like, I've seen comments. Everybody's because Darius had a couple shots where he had mummies in there.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, "Oh, wow."
Yeah. Well, I'll be completely honest with you. I don't want Mezco doing anything that needs
Army
army. No, sir. I'll pass. Anything that look, that Decapod game thing. You start talking about, nah, I don't need to start army building, $100 figures. I don't need to do that.
Yeah. Well, like you said, the troopers. I don't want Cobra troopers.
Yeah. Yeah. It's same thing with foot soldiers. They do foot soldiers. Oh, I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble because I can't not have them. Let's be honest. You can't collect turtles and not go with the foot soldiers.
Yeah.
You can't. And you can't have one. Mm-hmm. How corny is that? Oh, I got one foot soldier.
For 4 turtles to beat them up in case
exactly. Exactly. The math ain't mathing, so yeah. You say it all the time. Be careful what you ask for.
Dude, I'm telling you. Yeah. They probably have to do something like maybe like a 2 or 3 pack with that. And all that stuff has always been kind of like the same. Like like the 2 figures, those are usually like what, 265, 285.
Yeah.
But it's a license, and so they probably get charged a little bit more. I'm trying to like think of 3 packs. Like those are their own IP, but those pink skulls, those hit like 3+.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think a 2 pack would be good. You could keep it reasonably priced, especially now. Maybe. He says, you don't have to army build. You are correct. But one ninja getting beat up by
It's a
four
little off.
turtles
It's a
is
little off.
kind of a hate crime.
Yeah, a little off. Little off.
Yeah, I don't have the army. I shouldn't army build. I still, oh God, man. I still remember those black skulls, man. I went way too hard on those.
Yeah.
They're good, though. I got one like right here. I love playing with this. Anyway, all right, that's it. We beat it in the ground. Moral of the story: collecting's changing. We all need to adapt.
Yeah. Collect
How
responsibly.
many can you fit in a frame? Darius can fit, I think, 12. What's the most I've ever seen Darius put in there? I think 16 figures in a frame. How many figures have I put into a frame? What was the class of picture? I gotta do last year's. I haven't had an opportunity to do that yet. You remember that class of picture? What was it, like 30 something? 30.
Yeah.
I think that's the most I've ever put into a picture frame. But they were just standing there.
Yeah.
How many have you put in a frame, Ian? Like, what's the most figures you put? Because you've taken a bunch. No dynamic angles. He's like, don't be using like a Dutch angle so you can like put 4 or 5 more figures in there. I bought us 4. Like, no, that's not bad at all. Trust me. Trust me, that's not bad at all. I went way past that. We have to do it like the old Mexico one with camera, lots of action. No dynamic. Ian said, I have trouble getting all 4 turtles in a single frame. No. I know what you're doing, Ian. That shot you took was really good, sir. Did you see that one?
Which one?
It's like a top-down shot. I'm pretty sure that was Ian's. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was Ian's.
Yeah. I think the most figures I've ever had like in one photo was, I think I did that zombie shot.
Uh-huh.
And I think I had like five or 6 figures involved in that. But it's not like it's the whole figure. Like it's there were like just some limbs and stuff to just kind of fill the frame to make it look like it was, the horde coming.
Yeah.
But there was at least 5 whole figures. And then I literally just like took like some limbs from figures to put close to the camera to kind of get those arms coming towards. So, he is right. Like you can't put them all in there.
Yeah.
But just when I have them sitting on the shelf, like you said, I can't have 4 turtles, 1 foot soldier.
Ian said he's into prime numbers. So 3 is the magic number for him.
Yeah.
But I do like his covert plug, so we'll show this really quick here.
See, like to Ian's point, that's kind of like when we talk about, could you imagine trying to photograph the mythic dragon? Like how much studio space, you've got to have in order to set up a scene.
I'm wondering how that's going to go now that this is kind of like settled in. I think a lot of people were hoping for the best.
Yeah.
And who knows? We've been on for 2 hours and maybe there's something that happened where we magically went back into time and everything's okay. But I think people thought that things were going to be all right. And a lot of people didn't expect some of these, aftershocks that we're getting or we're supposedly getting.
Yeah.
He said, I wasn't trying to. It's okay. We'll highlight you here, buddy. Because this is a good shot. Yeah. Look, he got 4 right here. Dude, I know a lot of people don't do a lot of top-down shots. I think they're probably like really difficult.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of composition, but this is great, man. And look, I count 1, 2, 3, 4. You did it with ease, sir. I know I already like that. See? Bing. Good shot, man. All right, that's it. That's all we have. I will say one last thing before you take us out. You ready?
I'm ready.
Can I say it? Is it okay? He said
We'll
he
brace
will be.
ourselves.
Oh, wait. Here. Oh, yeah. Let me get you a spotlight. What do you like about this?
Oh, this is for Boba.
What do you like about this?
Well, I mean, for the price point, this is pretty cool. For the price point, like I said, this is 165. It's a good size.
That's what she said.
It's a good size. It's a good size. But what is pretty cool, and this, I guess, maybe this is just me, but there was 3 versions of this van, right?
Right.
There's the white one, there was a black one, and then this is the Raider. And somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but like the only difference between the black one and this Raider was these accessories. But these are all magnetized, so you can just take them off and strip this thing down.
Oh.
Uh-oh, I'm knocking stuff off. So, I bought the Raider. I read the description, on this thing. So I bought the Raider because I was like, well, why would I buy just the black one?
Yeah.
If I can get the Raider and then have the accessories, so I can just customize the look. And this works pretty well.
So I know you're putting it on right now. Do they stay on pretty well?
Yeah, that's pretty. I don't feel like we'll give it the shake test. Hold on. You put it on.
Oh, be careful. Be careful.
Yeah, on there. All right, we're ready.
Oh wow, yeah, it does.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
that's pretty good. And it is a tighter fit. That's a Mezco figure in there. There's not a ton of head space up there.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it does. In all fairness, it does fit.
So the bigger bodies, like Roadblock or Punisher, do you think that would fit in there or no? Or you said you had. MC said he had to mod it, right?
Yeah, MC's got that mod video. I think. Do I have a bigger Mezco handy?
Plastic Soul Collector said he broke the gear shifter day one.
Really?
Yeah, Kadeem said he said, love it, champ. He's just buttering you up so he can take your spot.
Is that what it
is? No, you did say
we need Kadeem to come hang out one time, man. That would be awesome. Would be awesome. I think it's cool. For $160, it's pretty. I'll hand it to him. It's pretty cool. For $160.
And all the doors open. And...
Yeah, and honestly, this sliding door is actually pretty cool because that pops out and then slides back. So
come here, little boy.
That's pretty. That's a pretty smooth function because you see that closes pretty smooth, right?
Yeah, that's like.
And then you just reach in from the door on the inside and just pop it out.
The tires.
A lot of people get this stuff and just start yanking on stuff, but that thing literally pops out and then slides to the back.
And there's room. There's a bunch of room in the back too.
Oh yeah.
Did you get extra tires with that?
Into the back of this van.
Did you get extra tires with that, or are those I thought the tires didn't they come with red tires or red rim tires too, or no?
No, Gridiron's probably making up. Look at all that room in there.
Oh man.
So anybody that's really good with designing, I think there's a huge opportunity for you to design a weapons loadout that would sit in the back here.
Oh my gosh, CC, just say Gridiron Studios, sir.
Dude, if you Gridiron guys are listening, I'm telling you, you got to be working on this van upgrade. Because if you did something, because look at all this just empty space. There's nothing there but potential. So if you could open that back out and they had one that just sat in there, that'd be dope.
That's a fighting area. You could have some nice little close-in shots.
Somebody needs to get on that.
That's where the kids go to get free candy.
Yeah.
Free candy.
Plenty of room. Plenty of room. So for the price, I'll give this. It exceeded my expectations.
So
I
it's
wish I
not.
had a Mezco Punisher. I'm trying to get one.
So it's not overpriced.
Nah, if it's still available, I think it's pretty cool.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it's still available. I think it's even still available on Ramen's site. But like I said, it's cheaper to me to just get it through Big Bag because of the $4 shipping.
On is it on Big Bag? Are they doing? Let me go look. Are they doing it where you got to pay for whatever it is, the tariff stuff?
I didn't get any extra charge on this. I just got it the other day. There was no additional charge.
This part of the Hangout is not sponsored by Big Bad Toy Store. It is not sponsored.
But if Gridiron wants to get on board,
Doesn't it seem like
we're talking about like that? Because that's the last thing I want is for them to do it because I'll have to have it.
Mm.
But I was looking to see if there was like 3D things or files
to
where I could just print my own. But somebody definitely needs to design.
Did you see this, CC?
Yeah, that's one of those things where I could see Boba like making one. I could see Boba doing that.
Yeah.
Out of foam or whatever. You guys are good. Do it too, Paige. Can I send my van to you and you pimp it out for me?
I don't do vehicles.
You'll be just like
I have done vehicles. They're a pain in the ass, but like I can't do that kind of stuff with them.
I just need you to build me an interior. That's all.
Out of foam,
Yeah.
I can build anything out of foam.
Yeah. Little foam armory back there. Good to go. Good to go.
I need the measurements for it. What is it? Sal said, "Damn nice." It said the Marvel Legends Punisher barely fits in there. I haven't tried a Mezco yet. He's gonna be really tight. Big Bad Link. Yep. Kadeem, I'll send that to you. Let me see here. Ramen noodles. Did I just miss this? Should I just said ramen toys? I still have not opened up that Engine of Vengeance from them. I still haven't opened up that I got it for Blade and the Pink Skulls. $179.
You got one of those? Oh, I do remember that.
Yeah.
I do remember that now.
Ooh, $179. Let me copy.
So I think it did go up a little bit because I think I got it for less than that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hold on a second. So it's one, and that's not shipped. Could you do the $4 shipping?
Yep. You sure can. That's the deal breaker to me. So this is Starduster. Starduster is probably about the size of a Marvel Legend, wouldn't you think?
Yeah. Give me a second. I can't see it just yet because I'm sending this link to Kadeem real quick. Starduster. Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about. As long as he doesn't have the jetpack, right?
Yeah, I took the jetpack off of him.
All right, I sent it, Kadeem.
Dude, if you can fit in here.
Okay, so Starduster fits, you said?
I'm putting him in there now. Oh shit.
Cece, what is that in the back? Is that it's a cat. Okay. I was like, is that a squirrel?
Yeah.
Whoa. Wow. Okay.
It's pretty close, man.
It looks good.
I mean, to me, it works.
Do you have the racer?
I do not have the racer.
I was gonna say, I'm wondering how big that is in comparison. So, damn it, CC, great.
Yeah, I might as well go and pick you up one, Page.
Well, if Big Bad Toy Store sponsored this show, then I would be able to get my Big Bad Toy Store discount.
Yeah.
This looks good.
I'd love to see what you would do with one of these, customizing and everything.
You know what, man? I don't.
Lots of potential.
I know, but I wonder what you could put back there, like a rack, gun rack. I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
man.
weapons rack.
Sky's the limit. There's all kinds of space back there.
I'd get it and I'd paint it white.
Put your gun rack on one side, and then on the other side you have like your computer screens for your command center.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can open the door and get that shot through there.
I have a toolbox torture kit in there, like the
Yeah,
toolbox.
so you can put it through there so you can see it from that side.
This is a dumb question. The wheels roll, right?
Yeah, and they're rubber too.
Oh, nice.
These feel like rubber wheels.
Do they turn? Did you?
Yeah,
Oh,
you
they
get a little
do
bit,
turn.
not a lot, but it turns a little bit.
Oh, okay. Here's the big thing.
You only get about 15 degrees there. It's not much. It's a tight turn radius there.
Well, it's a van. We're not.
Yeah.
Right. So here's the thing.
12-point turn.
Here's the thing. You turn the wheels. Did it turn the steering wheel? Because if it doesn't, I'm out.
Yeah.
That's my nitpick.
No working suspension either. It doesn't have shocks.
I'm out.
Nothing like that. No shocks.
I'm out.
But it is a pretty nice little van.
Chris said that the van needs a waterbed and a disco ball.
Yeah. The shaggin' wagon.
I would, but I don't want to get sued by anybody.
That's pretty cool, man. It's pretty cool.
I'll make it a phone. You know what? I do. Oh, well, Cece knows I've been trying to do that for like a year now, but I do have a vehicle I want to build out of foam just to say I did it.
Yeah.
That looks good, man.
I remember.
That looks good, man.
That's. Like I said, it's kind of one of those things you get what you pay for. Like it is a little light. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's not die-cast or anything. You got to be careful with it. If you get ham-fisted with it, I can see this thing snapping pretty easy, but you know, as long as you handle it with care and don't drop it, don't let it roll off your shelf. If it rolls off your shelf, it's done.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, like I love. Don't get me wrong. I can't wait for the Rattler. And yeah. I even though I haven't taken out the his tanks and all that stuff, I love vehicles, but
yeah.
I mean, most of the time, most of us like use them just as props anyway. It's not like we're taking that out in the driveway and like when we were kids and, you know?
Exactly. It's not getting in the sandbox.
No. There was a guy, when I first started collecting, there was a guy that took the Dark Knight Returns versus Mutant Leader 2-pack, and he actually put them in a pit fighting, and he had all this dirt on him, and I was just like,
yeah.
It's like I had a heart attack. I was like Fred Sanford. I was like, oh no, what are you doing? No.
Yeah.
I was like, oh God, I'm sending you some phone to build out the back for me. Did you get this, Kadeem?
That's what I'm talking about, man.
Oh yeah.
Paige's Upholstery.
Man.
Hook it up.
I painted pink. It'll be like a pink shagging wagon. All right, this is cool, man. This is a good conversation. Please take this episode with a grain of salt. And just be prepared, have fun. I think that's the biggest thing. Like, I know we kind of like went over some of the stuff, and hopefully it wasn't too much doom and gloom, but man, we need to start taking this hobby and as more of a safe haven, man. We all do it to relax and decompress, and just like we talked about with offerings becoming possibly less available or less, reduced in production, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, probably time that We can look at stuff and be appreciative of what we have and stop nitpicking stuff so much.
Yep. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, not yet, but after the 4-H ISS tomorrow. Yeah. Oh, and thank you, Kenny, for correcting us on that, or correcting me on that. That's tomorrow. That's all I had. You want to take us out, bro? Oh, thank you, man. Thank you for being here, man. Missed having MC on, but it's always good to catch
It's
up.
always
with
a
you.
pleasure for me, man. This is my escape. So it's always a pleasure. I appreciate you having me.
Oh man, you guys are my road dogs. I gotta look that up. I think it has been almost 3 years now.
Yeah. If not potentially longer, man. It's time flies.
Yeah, man. I know we've talked about, like, I remember that one time when we had I don't know if it was episode 100. That was a while back, but remember it was like, I was like, man, we've been doing this for like a year and a half, 2 years. So I'm gonna look that up. I know we've been doing a while, man, but it's been good, man. You guys have been awesome. I really appreciate you guys, especially because I know how hard you guys work, and for you to carve out some time, not only for me but for everybody else, man. I really appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
But that MC guy, I don't know. Suspensions.
It's good to be back. It's good to be back.
I've been TOing all the time. I don't think I'm gonna make it tonight, guys. You know.
The Dean was putting the pressure on me to get back, man. I couldn't.
He was. He was like,
put the pressure on. I felt it.
Like this.
I felt it.
He's like Brian McKnight. He's like, I'll take her.
Yeah.
That would be cool. That'd be a nice dream guest spot. That would be a lot of fun, man.
Need to make it happen. Yeah.
Yeah. You want to take us out?
Remember to help control the pet population. Please have your pet spayed or neutered.
Yeah. Was it? Thanks for a great show as always. Thank you, Sal. Appreciate you being here, and thank you everybody that dropped in, dropped out. You stayed for the whole show. I appreciate your time. Thank you guys very much. Last couple episodes have done really well, and have no one else to thank but you guys. No bots, no AI. So thank you guys for supporting. Really appreciate it. What do you want to do next week? What do you think?
I don't think I have anything coming next week. You got any fun coming? Yeah.
Woodford comes on Friday. I haven't. Crab Louie is shipping, but I haven't got anything with him. But we've done stuff with him already.
Yeah.
Did we have a play party with something that we've all gotten? Maybe we should do something like that, since this was such kind of like it wasn't super serious, but you know, we can have like a fun show.
Yeah.
Maybe do like something like that.
Some sort of show and tell or something.
Yeah, I was just thinking that, where we could all just
pick a figure.
Yeah, that we've been like, caught our attention, or we've been messing around with for like the last month.
I like that idea.
Okay, so show and tell next week. Maybe we should try to get somebody on, like a guest or something. That would be cool.
Hint, hint, hint.
Well, not like that, but yeah, that would always be great. But like, hint, hint. We kind of got away from that. Just so much been happening. So how about
it's always great.
We grab some.
Be good to catch it with some of the other fellas.
Yeah.
See what's been on their desk lately.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah.
Yep. Show and tell next week. Great suggestions, Cece. All right. Thank you guys. Thank you everybody. Appreciate your time. Take care. Bye.